Okay, what's up everybody? Back here with yet another little video. Today last night I was laying in bed, I was watching a show, and I just kind of got to thinking, and I was watching this show, and for some reason, like, in my head, I was struggling to, like, emotionally connect to the characters in the show. I know that's kind of like a super niche, weird thing, but I just kind of noticed it. I was like, man, you know, I'm sort of struggling to find a connection with these characters in the show. And after sitting there and thinking about it for a little bit, and I started thinking about another show, which I'm going to use both these shows as examples in this video, but I got to thinking, and I was like, you know, I think I finally figured out what the problem is and why I can't emotionally connect to these characters specifically, but then in this show, I can connect to the characters very well. Like, it's seamless, like a seamless connection. And it's one small little thing that you don't really notice, but you also do at the same time. And I'm gonna talk to you about it. If you're a filmmaker, I think this will be really great advice. And that is that the one factor, the close-up shot. Now, a close-up shot, of course, is one of, like, the very common types of shots in shot coverage. We have, you know, close-ups, wides, mediums, things like that, like over the shoulders. But to me, the close-up shot is such a pivotal part of making a connection from the audience to the character. Like, it's absolutely vital. I just want to use some examples. So the show that I said I was watching that I was struggling to form the emotional connection with the characters was actually Loki Season 2. Loki Season 2, a great season of television in my opinion, actually one of my favorites. Probably up there in the top 3 or 5 seasons of television ever made. For some reason I was struggling to find this, like, super deep connection to the characters, and I think that's because of the way it's shot. If you go through and watch the entirety of Loki Season 2, you'll realize that most of it is shot at this wide focal length, but also being close up. The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes was shot in the same way. It's like this wide focal length that they get up in your face, so it's like the character is here, but there's such a wide focal length. To me, it sort of causes you to feel like far away from the characters, if that makes sense. There was this other movie that I watched recently. It's called The Vast of Night. It's on Amazon Prime. I think it's like a Prime original. It was a good movie, by the way. I'm not, like, attacking this movie at all, but the whole film was also shot in this wide focal length, sort of close up but far away sort of thing. And throughout the entire movie, I didn't really connect to or care about any of the characters whatsoever. Honestly, one of the characters, I guess she was technically the lead, the female lead, literally, like, felt like I never got a good look at her face, because either the film was shot wide or it was super dimly lit and wide at the same time, and so I never really got this, like, connection to her, or even really remembered what she even looked like, or could make a picture of her in my mind, because I never really got to see her up close. I never got to see all the details. Another show, the other show I was talking about that's on the inverse of this, that I think does this really well, is the show Lost. Absolutely my favorite show of all time. If you watch Lost, you'll notice that almost every scene of dialogue where the characters are talking is shot in this up close, closed focal length, low f-stop, the background's blurred out, the character is in focus, you're right up close with them. It creates for this extremely tight emotional connection to the characters, because when they're experiencing these things within the show, you're, like, up there with them, you know, you're up there experiencing the things with them, you're seeing all the emotions in their face. And this is also, of course, enhanced by the performances in the show. It's just one of those things that Lost does really well. At first I couldn't figure this out. I was like, why is it? Because, I mean, in Loki and stuff, and in this other movie, like, they have like technically close-up shots where the camera is up close to the character, but it feels different for some reason. It's like you're up close, but you still feel far away. I don't know how to explain it. I think what the issue with that is actually the focal length in general. For example, like I was talking about Lost. Like I said, when you're up close with the characters, everything else is, like, completely blurred out. Sometimes it's actually like a completely blank background. Like, everything around them is just, it's like a blank sky or something, and the only thing in focus is their face. Everything else is completely blurred out of the shot. However, in shows like Loki Season 2 and in The Vast of Night, it's like you're up close to the character, but everything else, you can still see everything else. It's distracting, it's noisy, you know what I'm saying? I even tried to put this into use in a short film that I'm working on right now, where I took a lot of inspiration from the over-the-shoulder talking shots in Lost, but like the close-ups, it really does just give you this deep emotional connection because of how close you feel to the characters rather than feeling like you're being pushed back and pushed away. I think another factor that can play in is actually just the composition in which things are shot in general. There's one shot in Loki where it's in episode 5, I think, of season 2, where the entire TVA around Loki starts to like spaghettify. Of course, a moment like that you want to show a wide of what's happening, but it's like we stay in this wide sort of focal length and we never get up close to the character to see like, hey, how's he reacting to this thing that's happening, you know? And it's things like that. This is just me personally. When you're writing something, when you're creating a film or a story or anything, the most important thing is the characters and their reactions to things and the decisions that they make. A lot of directors and filmmakers and screenwriters can get so caught up on the scale and the story of what's going on that they sort of forget like the characters should be what motivates your story. So when something like that, for instance in Loki, when the TVA is spaghettifying, like of course show a wide shot of that happening, but maybe cut into a close-up to show Loki being like, oh hey, this is bad, or something like I don't know. Like I mentioned, you know, with Lost and stuff, like personally I've never felt more attached to characters than I have in Lost, and nearly everything in that show is like a close-up shot. Like anything can happen in the show, close-up shot. Like there's at the end of season 2 when Desmond is, you know, turning the failsafe key in the hatch, the entire sequence is shot, boom, right up here in his face, right? Like it's never like this big wide shot, it's just personal, it's boom, up close and personal. I think that's what connects you so close to the characters, is the way that it's shot. And I think a lot of times we can be so focused on how do I make this look as pretty as possible, this set has to look like this and the sequence has to look like this, and we forget that the most important thing is, you know, the characters and what's going on with the characters and the reactions to things that are happening. So that's why I think that the close-up shot is the absolute most vital shot in film, television, whatever, because it connects you to what is most important in the story, which is the characters.